What was also crazy to me, because like there was a lot of other startups there that were like presenting, talking about their business, and then they would say, "Here's all our capital investors," and there's like a laundry list of investors, and it's like, how much more of your company are you actually really a part of anymore?
What's up, guys?
What's going on, guys? Welcome to Own the Chaos.
Live here from Seattle, Space Needle.
Wrong needle, wrong coast. We are in Toronto.
Here in Las Vegas, Observatory.
We are in Toronto. You guys know that I've been here for quite some time now. We've been here for a week for We Trade HQ. It was the Collision Conference. It was pretty awesome.
It was great. It was great. I'm running the show today, people. I'm running the show. So why don't you tell people about the Collision Conference, how we got here?
Yeah, so we actually got here because of Jake. So Jake basically, he lives in the Toronto area and saw that the Collision Conference was coming up. This was probably, what 6 months ago,
Yeah,
I would say. We've been preparing for this for a pretty long time, and we didn't realize how big it was actually going to be, I don't think.
Yeah.
So for me, like, the first day was a little bit overwhelming, I would say. I mean, you didn't come in till later, but when Jake and I went to the opening ceremony and like Justin Trudeau was like right there, and it was just that was pretty awesome.
And Seth Rogen.
They
had
right.
some big names there the first day.
Yeah.
Missed all of it.
Yeah, you did.
So this will be a good opportunity, like, for us to really talk a little bit more about the conference, your perspective. Just like, there's a number of directions we can go, but I'm really interested in your perspective on leading up to the conference, your expectations, what you got out of it. So, so what do you overall sort of give me your assessment from the conference, and then we'll work back.
I mean, I guess I kept my expectations pretty low. Because I mean, for me, I didn't want to walk into this big, huge conference thinking I was the biggest, baddest, MFer on the planet.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of taking it in. And I think you actually mentioned that, like, I was pretty quiet for most of the week. I was just kind of like taking it all in and just kind of observing and watching and see how it was. And it really kind of gave me an opportunity to just get a good landscape vision or view of, what people thought of us, and my perception of some of the other startups, and just kind of, just so many awesome ideas that were out there. Things that I would have never even thought of or never even imagined, and just like, yeah, of course there's a need for that, and it was pretty cool.
What was the coolest thing you saw?
So I think one of the coolest things was the analytically.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned that quite a few times. So like there's a startup that basically just goes into all kinds of information to try to help you find a target demographic, and it came all the way down to like what the weather was like, and just all kinds of crazy, unbelievable metrics that you would have never even thought would matter.
Yeah.
And they made it matter, so that was really cool.
Yeah, and it was like all industries, so like data mining to try to make predictions about your business and to make better decisions like around your projections. So that was really cool. That was awesome. I love the elevator pitch booth. That was my favorite thing. They had this literal makeshift elevator in the middle of the conference, and TELUS is a telecom company.
Yeah.
And basically you went in there and you had 1 minute to deliver an elevator pitch for your company. Elevator doors opened, you stepped in, there was a camera, and you had a minute to give your pitch for a chance to win $100,000. So, we were in there.
That was cool, man. And Jake took charge of the whole thing.
Crushed it.
I mean, and we've talked about this, like, we were like super proud of Jake, because Jake was like, he's very soft-spoken most of the time, and
he's young. He's like 13 years old or something like that.
Somewhere along those lines. He still has less hair. He has less hair than he's like literally right outside the camera. He has less hair than us, but it is what it is.
Wow. That
went south quick.
I know. No, I'm just. We've been like picking on each other all week. It's been awesome. But no, in all seriousness, like we talked amongst between the two of us about just how proud of Jake we were. Because you really did, man. You really just came into your element, and I think just developed leaps and bounds in just a matter of days. Just because I think we just told. It had to have been hundreds of people about We Trade HQ, and it was just like that repetition getting the reps in, I think, is really kind of what did it for him. And really, I mean, us too, but like, it was cool to see him, really kind of develop.
Yeah, and we talked about how, there are a lot of smart people out there, and that's really important. By the same token, like the confidence piece is just so important, and you could have all your stuff together, your business can be tight,
Right.
but if you don't have the confidence, you have the ability to articulate it is what you do. And I find with a lot of sort of cerebral people who are very knowledgeable about what they do, they just go off on a tangent and they give you, it's
Right.
like it's like diarrhea of the mouth. It's just like
What are you laughing at?
I'm giggling.
Jake, just get in here.
Jake, come on in.
Whatever. That's whatever.
Seriously?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Everybody, it's Jake from We Trade HQ.
What's up, guys?
So yeah, if you guys don't know, this is my partner Jake. I talk about my partner Jake all the time in my
Now I'm here in the flesh.
in my videos and stuff. But it was really cool. I feel like to just have the three of us here and just kind of interact with each other on levels that weren't just directly dedicated to business.
Yeah.
Because like, I think with just our meetings and stuff, we just get down to business and it's just that's it.
Yeah.
We don't really kind of talk about each other's lives or anything like that much. And
Yeah.
it was kind of a really good opportunity for us to kind of gel in that way. I think for me, I like to equate a lot of things or parallel a lot of things to sports. And you probably can relate to this too. Like, the most successful teams might not have the most talent, but if they have that gel that keeps them together, and that, I don't know what you want to call it, but like the most gelled teams, I feel like can be the most powerful ones.
Yeah.
And so they might not necessarily be the best of the best of the best, but because of how well they work together, is what makes them so successful. And I think that can be equated to business too.
Yeah, that's true. I was thinking about that a few times in the conference, and to sort of like expand on the whole idea of the team piece. I felt like
Why are you laughing?
I just pulled a dare me on you.
Oh, you spit on me.
They didn't hit you and
Good.
live.
I'm safe. Still safe. We're good.
You deserved it.
Under fire here. It's a battle zone in Toronto this week.
That's staying in. That's staying in.
Oh, breathe.
We should
breathe.
zoom in on that.
3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Pizza. All right.
Pizza.
As I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted by that spitball, no, but it, not only was the chemistry was apparent, but what felt really good was that we defined our roles, but it worked really well. And even through our conversations offline, like not at the conference, where we're just still talking business,
Right.
there's no real ambiguity about what our role is in the company and what we're responsible for doing. And the business is going to change and the needs are going to change and
Right.
it's going to evolve. But like right now going into it, it just felt like everyone was complimentary.
Yes.
As far as like what we do in the company is complimentary, and when we're explaining our company and even having the conversations. Like I remember when we were talking with the investors, like I jumped in when it was like kind of the strategy piece, and we were talking about mentors or like the tech side, like so it was sort of like sort of reaffirming sort of the structure is sound and makes sense.
The investor part of it, I just wanted to talk a little bit about how we were able to develop and grow a lot more because of that, and especially you and I when we were in the first investor meeting, and we were basically offered some sort of funding. And we were just like,
you didn't take
we said no.
Actually, not. Well, I guess I kind of knew that.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, no, they were very interested in offering us funding. So the investors that met with us, their boss was some huge oil guy.
Okay. Lots of money in
He's a billionaire.
Yep.
In over in Alberta area.
Yep.
And they were willing to talk about offering us funding for whatever we needed, and we were just kind of like and really it wasn't even like a hesitation.
Yeah.
But I think part of that is because we had a game plan. We knew
That was the biggest thing. We had the game plan. We knew coming into
Was
this.
was there any part of you that was just at least curious about entertaining the idea?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
definitely. I definitely wanted to see. Well, I was just curious how much they wanted to invest. But it's funny because like when we started talking to them, they were so excited, and I just like they were more excited. And as soon as we said no, I was like,
Yeah, the conversation basically.
Yeah, I was just like,
they wanted
that was
to-
it?
they're like,
yeah.
all right, we're done. So yeah.
I mean, it is what it is, but like it was a cool experience. And then when the three of us, went to the second set of investors, that was probably for me the highlight of the week. I think
100%.
because the three of us were able to kind of tag team it a little bit. So for you guys, we met with these investors. They were from the Montreal Exchange.
Yeah.
Twice. And the first time, I mean, it was like, it literally felt like we were on Shark Tank. I mean, it was just question after question after question. What are you guys doing here? What's the health of the company there? And so, like, I felt like I was seriously under fire. And so, like, it was cool that, like, when one of us felt like the other was kind of getting a lot of heat, we just kind of, like, took the reins a little bit. And that was pretty awesome.
They were very serious, like the first time we met with them. Second time, it was a bit more like.
Well, and these were supposed to be mentor meetings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they were billed as mentor meetings, but they had the investor wristbands, and they were talking to us like they were thinking about investing in our company.
So we were thrown off a bit.
Yeah, we were. That wasn't like the expectation,
Right.
but it was great.
Well, it ended up turning into that because the second time we met them, so we knew going into any kind of meeting with potential investors that we weren't going to take any kind of funding. We basically knew that there were investors that were going to be here, and unless for some reason they were going to offer us some stupid life-changing money, that we were just going to say no. We know what our vision is and what we have planned for WeTrade HQ, but like we still wanted. They basically said, hey, we still want to talk to you. Can we set up a second meeting? So then we went to them the next day. They basically, was just explaining to us that they really liked our product. And he mentioned acquisition a couple times. Like they were interested in acquiring us, basically because they saw the value in just the community itself.
That's what they liked the most.
Yeah, and I think for people, especially institutional traders, they don't have much to go off of when getting like investor sentiment. And so the value that they saw in us was like being able to understand like how people are feeling about X company or X industry, and trying to like measure the climate for that, because I mean that's part of their due diligence, and so that's where they saw the value in us. And really, it was a much different dynamic. The first meeting it was like Shark Tank, like I'm talking to Mark Cuban over there. But then like the second time, it was like, okay, we're just friends now. Like, let me just, and it was really cool that they were giving us like some advice on like where they felt like we could, play through our strengths as far as, the community goes, our platform. And it was really like encouraging for me. And I know it was for you too, of just getting that, affirmation that like we're actually on to something.
So I have a question for you guys that I didn't ask.
Sure.
If I wasn't there, you sat down with those guys, would you have taken the second meeting? Because we had the conversation where I was like, we should just take the second meeting.
We did. So I was actually nervous about taking the second, because so probably not. I would say probably not. Only because
I would have said yes. I would have pushed back on that and said yes. Let's do the second meeting.
Maybe, but the thing was, the reason I was like so hesitant to taking the second meeting was because I thought that they were going to be like, here we want to be a part of your company, and in the form of funding, and take obviously a percentage of the company or whatever. So like for me, my initial thoughts were I don't want to take that meeting because I feel like it's just going to be wasting my time. Because I thought that that's what they were going to do, and then it ended up turning out that wasn't.
Which we all thought they were going to do that too.
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah. We weren't expecting that. How that second conversation went, we weren't expecting it at all. We thought they're going to give us money or invest money.
Yeah, and going into that, we all had that same assumption, and so we just knew that we were going to go into it and take it as a learning experience instead of me thinking that it was going to be a waste of time. We just said, hey, maybe later on down the road, if we feel like we've kind of like, exhausted all of our other options and we're still not where we need to be, then, maybe this is just going to be some good practice for us to talk to investors later on down the road. But then it ended up turning out to be like a much better experience than I ever thought that it would have been, and that was really
Yeah.
cool.
Definitely the highlight of the week. We learned a lot from that.
Yeah, we did, and the interesting thing about that, and for me to like tie two things we're talking about together, one is going into the investor meeting, but then also sort of how we work together. That was sort of an interesting case study,
Yeah.
and I think there was a lot of value and a lot of learning opportunities there, where I thought we saw success in those investor meetings. Again, going back to the point, it's like there's a bunch of businesses that they could have sat down with and they could have been like, yeah. I think there was huge value in the fact that they saw three guys who were just normal guys who had a great idea, and he even said a couple times like, "It's just friends. Let's just talk as friends, right?"
Yeah, super cool.
There had to be an element of like, they seemed like us, just a little bit older, a little bit further along, like in general, and so I think that a lot of times what gets missed with these things, like some things we had to our advantage was we had clear understanding of what our roles were, so we could talk about that, and there was never really stepping on each other's toes.
Right.
No.
We had clear objective. We all were like, okay, there was, and all in our minds we knew there was no chance we were going to end that with, we're going to do any investment.
Yep.
And for us, that made it so much easier, at least for me, it made it so much easier for us to have that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're having these, it almost relieved all the pressure and allowed us just to talk, to be confident.
Yeah.
And I would argue that the fact that we were able to, it wasn't we need something from them, it was they found something interesting to us, and they did provide us value for knowledge.
Oh, yeah.
And so it was a mutual exchange of information, and it wasn't somebody had a higher ground.
Right.
And I think that in turn also gave us more value, because when I watch people, it's almost like they're trying to sell their business. We weren't trying to sell our business.
No.
We were giving them information about our business, and then they were coming back to us. They were almost trying to sell us on what our business could be. And that's the ultimate negotiating position, where you don't
100%.
need something, and so the value, who knows how that's going to reap benefits down the road for us.
Right. Well, and they're another source or another resource that we can reach out to now.
Yeah.
I mean,
We're on their radar.
Well, that
essentially.
and he was very like, if you guys need anything, you want us to like check back up on you.
Yeah.
Feel free to reach back out to us. That I thought was really cool too.
That was cool, yeah.
For people to be part of, an exchange, the Montreal Exchange, which if you guys don't know is basically the New York Exchange in Canada.
Yep.
And it was just really cool. I thought, if we could do that up here, then I feel like we could also do it down in the States.
Down in the States, that'd be.
I think it would be an amazing opportunity if we could find somebody down there.
Yeah, and if we can continue, I mean, it's the networking piece we talked about.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like if we can continue building those relationships, and who knows how they provide value, but people that you feel good about, like we connected with them on a level, whether it's just reaching out to them if we do have an investor pitch in the future and say, hey, can you bounce ideas, or just say, hey, can you look at, one of the things I asked them was, he talked about strategic model, and I asked him if he could just review it when we do create it and finalize it. And so, having that ability is going to be important. Now, what I have to figure out, or we collectively have to figure out, is also making sure that we provide him value as well in whatever way we do that. But, I always think about like, if three different people sat down at that table with those same people, how would it end?
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like some people wouldn't even ask, hey, can we follow up with you? Or hey, can we reach out to you? Or
100%.
would they take in the second meeting? So those are all really interesting things to think about.
We were very, sorry to cut off, but like we were very proactive that whole week at Collision.
I felt like
in terms of like, even at our booth, like we would, people would walk by, some people are a little nervous, they don't want to come up to you, and we would say, hey, how's your day going? Like, how's the conference going? Like, not even like saying We Trade HQ within the first 30 seconds. We were just
starting a conversation,
and then it worked into that. So, I mean, like even following up with that second meeting was just like us being proactive, because we're hungry. We want to get our name out there, and
for sure.
So that was really cool.
How many opportunities are missed with people who don't have, like, they may have a great idea, but they don't articulate it properly, or they don't have a plan coming in, or
Yeah.
they're timid.
Millions.
And like,
Well,
people walk by and like
yeah.
that was an opportunity.
They didn't say hi. Like,
Yeah,
I'd be
right.
walking by other booths and like some I was interested in, and a lot of
Oh
times
my
I had
gosh,
to go
it
up
was
there.
horrible.
they weren't paying attention.
They weren't paying
Or
attention.
you'd engage them. How many times did you guys have to say to a booth you went to, "Tell me about your product"?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
It was crazy.
Yeah. So yeah.
That and what was also crazy to me, because like there was a lot of other startups there that were like presenting, talking about their business, and then they would say, "Here's all our capital investors," and there's like a laundry list of
Yeah.
investors,
Yeah.
and it's like, how much more of your company are you actually
Yeah.
really a part of anymore?
Yeah.
You know, and so. We've talked about this before, and so it was a little bit eye-opening for me because we've talked about it before coming up here, but like it was almost kind of like there in that moment where I'm sitting there looking at them and I'm thinking, you are now just an employee of your company, and it's
100%.
pretty sad.
And what I kind of, a little bit of the vibe I got was like a lot of people were proud about how much money they raised or how many investors they have, and that's not necessarily a good thing. You should be proud about, you build a product, you built a brand, you're solving problems, and because of that, you're making money, and you were able to start a profitable business. Not like, oh, I raised $5 million, cool. Like, what does that turn into?
Right.
And the business is here. Like, the business is right here.
Yep.
There's nobody we have to call. There's nobody we have to ask. If
Yeah.
we want to change the whole model, we can change it right now.
Right.
And that's power. We work
That is
for
power.
nobody, and we control the fate of the business. So that was
100%.
cool. So all right. So the last question that I have is, what surprised you the most in regards to maybe your expectations coming into the conference, and then what actually happened, or what you weren't expecting, or whatever it is. What was the sort of your biggest sort of surprise moment?
So I'll start. I would just say like the amount of companies people are starting. Like, I didn't realize the entrepreneurship
Yeah.
scene was this crazy, and just like the different niches, the different industries, and like sub niches are starting, and just it's so disciplined now what people can build a successful business on. Like, you could be on a sector, but like drill down even more to like a sub niche, and it's like crazy what some people are doing. I didn't realize so many people are solving incredible problems right now, and it's
Yeah.
the simplest problems. It could be the simplest thing, and people are doing it. And
How does that make you feel from a competitive perspective?
so it makes me happy, because like I'm in it. Like, I think we're all in this together. We're all trying to like solve problems, make people's lives easier, because when you solve a problem, you just like reduce someone's stress, right? If you can start making their day easier. Now, at the conference, I don't think we really saw a direct competitor to us per
No.
se. There was maybe people that were doing a part of our business the same, or in that, but they weren't offering what we were offering as a whole.
Right.
So, I love it. I love competition.
Well,
I think it's better for the world. So,
Yeah, and before I get yours, I actually, to make a point on that, it is scary. It is scary in a sense of like, there is a lot of competition, so we gotta be on our game.
Right.
Yep.
But what I will say is, a lot of people seemed really focused on like this great product and like the next thing and what's the hot topic. But to me, I felt really good for a different reason, which was competitively, I think we show that, one, we're not competing on that. Like, we're not competing on trying to keep up with you. We're competing on relationships.
Yeah.
And to tie into that, the second part is like, I felt really good about how strong we are as a team and our community is. And those people can't replicate that. They can great technology and all that stuff. But like, we have our relationships, and that was the huge surprise to
100%.
me, was like how strong our community is, and that's truly our competitive advantage. So
Yeah.
I know. So then like, what about you?
I think for me, meeting the kind of regular, average, everyday Joes that, came up to us and were like, well, this is awesome. Like, I've always wanted to learn how to get in the trading and stock market, and this would be a great way to start. And because I think that, and talking about solving problems, I think WeTrade HQ is its own ecosystem, right?
Yes.
WeTrade HQ, the platform, is the macro, and then each little niche within the stock market, like where as far as mentors are concerned, that's on a micro level.
Yeah.
And so for people to come up to us, especially like with the emergence of like Robinhood and the accessibility of being able to trade in the stock market, there's this huge education gap. And we've talked about this about how the online education that's not post-secondary like college, that industry is going to be a $325 billion industry. And
100%.
and given the fact that we're kind of like unique, I think it just opens the door for a huge opportunity for us, for WeTrade HQ, for you guys that are as part of the community. And we have like some competition in certain areas, but like we were saying, it's like we kind of covered a lot of bases, and and without getting too deep into like the automation part of it as far as like the bot's concerned, but like we have that, we're gonna have that balance. Being able to see what the future of the industry is gonna be like as far as automation is concerned, but also keeping that human element, I think is important.
100%. Yeah.
But like just having that affirmation of just like, oh man, this is cool. Like people are coming up to us and just like really like understanding the concept and like really wanting to be a part of that was really neat. And I think you said our traffic from just
Google.
being around there, actually went up on the site.
Yeah, so our Google search ranking went up a lot because of that, because we're getting out cards and stuff like that, and people were visiting. We also lucked out on our booth. We did have quite a visible location, so thank you, Collision, for that.
The prime real estate.
Any conference we're doing, we need to lock down location like that. Location.
That's what they say, man.
Yeah.
So we got it. So that was great.
It was really neat. Cool. So I want to flip that back on you. So like, what was your key takeaway? And it doesn't have to necessarily be about WeTrade, but even just for 262.
I think it was more of a reinforcement for me of the idea that you mentioned all the talk of the value of the things outside of our meetings, because I deal with a lot of clients, and out of all my clients, the business we have, or all the business I've seen, the business we have, I feel like we're the most productive. Like, we get things done, we're efficient, we have fun, we joke, but like, we get things done, period.
Right.
Where a lot of people are so vision and like going in different directions, like we have a plan, and I feel like we're good about sticking to it. And if we make a shift, we make a quick shift, and then we move. But remembering that the value of just a conversation from here to the convention center, we had some really, all of us separately, together, like we had some really valuable conversations.
100%.
I mean, we talked about like the India market. We talk, there's all these, MailChimp and
MailChimp was huge.
Well, and the story you told about how the owner, the founder, turned down $1 billion investment. Like, we had a lot of conversations, kind of reinforcing our beliefs of, okay, we're committed to not taking investment, and we're committed to our plan.
Right.
And so, me really, I'm an implementation person, but this kind of reminded me, like, not to forget the balance of us just building our relationship,
100%.
us just putting ourselves out in the community as a team, because people can see us individually and really be like, that person's sharp. But if they look at our team and they look at us together, stack us against anybody. Right? And I believe that. Like, I'm a competitive person, so I'm like, stack us against somebody and tell me 3 people who, if you put all their skill sets together, we can all operate individually very well, but then, the sum are greater than the parts, right? It's that thing where I feel like we're all very good in social settings. In a business setting, we can talk about our business, but if you put us all together, we're almost unstoppable. So it just, it reminds me that like we have to also remember that aspect of like, how do we incorporate that as we move forward and grow the business. And that was it was cool to see and cool to experience. So I felt like I got a lot out of just seeing you guys, kick ass and take names.
That's what we did.
There you have it, world. We're coming to get you.
Watch out.
Anybody wants to stack up against us?
Yeah.
Bring it.
Go ahead and try.
Trade
Bring it.
coming in hot.
But if you do want to go against us, the key is to run in circles for 3 to 5 minutes, and Jake will get really tired, may throw up. His endurance. I learned that this week.
Yeah, it's
We got to work on the endurance.
Gotta do some more sprints. Yeah.
But the strength is there.
Strength's
Short burst,
100% there.
strength's
Yeah.
there.
Cardio, not quite.
With that, guys, that's it for me. Thanks so much for the town of Toronto and for, just, I don't know, for you guys too. Like, this has just been an awesome experience. And, we're ready and excited to get back to work, guys. So if you want to see more content such as this, or you're just excited for the direction of We Trade HQ and the chaos, give us a thumbs up and subscribe here. I guarantee you we're going to have a lot more exciting stuff to come, and let's just get back to work. So with that, guys, as always, I will see you all before the bell. And B. Smith, out.